Hey, what's up, everybody? This is CCG Nerd. I'm here back with my Boros deck with some few changes here for the new expansion that came out, Streets of Capenna. So I thought I'd show some more gameplay with this deck because it is just as effective as ever in this meta, and I've not really seen much floating around like this, making use of this particular arrangements of cards. And I think it's just, there's reanimators out there. There's some more control-y things with arcane bombardment out there. But so far, this has been the most consistent thing that I could play in this meta. I don't have like 5-game losing streaks, with bad luck or anything like that. It just seems to really pull it together. So without further ado, here's a quick look at the deck and then some gameplay that I'll comment on. Got everything kind of in a more sped up pace just to kind of get through more hands. I think that's one thing I notice when I watch other streamers is that, it's just way too much time kind of waiting on decisions and what's happening. So I thought, you could see a lot more hands that I played this way. So I thought I'd give it a try. Like speed magic, what are you watching for? You're not watching for all the commentary. You kind of want to see the decks and how they work and different matchups with them. So by speeding up the video, I can bring you a lot more matchups in the same time frame, and I think it's really cool. I think in this hour-long video, I have something like 11 hands of cards. This is not like an aggro type speed deck either, so I think that's pretty impressive. Mostly here, I'm just playing lands. I kept the hand because I had the Doomscar, the Invoke Justice, some things that would hopefully come online later down the road. So far, I've just kind of, not really drawn into much. I've got 3 Doomscars, which playing against this Angel deck, at this point doesn't honestly look too bad. I have no problem just kind of stalling things out. And then eventually we'll draw something good. That's the plan anyway. No, so that was a great draw there. The new card Strangle, just to immediately get Limval off the board. Otherwise, it would have been a consideration to maybe use a Doomscar just to kind of get her out of the way and not let her get any value. Okay, and we got Giada, more angels. I think I may have been a little aggressive killing this Giada, but I did want to get more land on board to be able to get the arcane bombardment going. So I think that's why I went to aggressively kill that. I didn't really have another play to make that round. And I'd rather that get countered than a Doomscar, honestly. So this round, having that Strangle earlier to kill Linvala was really helpful here. So we still got one more Doomscar left after this. Fortunately, we just don't really have anything at this point in our game to bring any aggression or damage or anything. We're just drawing all the high cost cards. I don't think we drew, just the Igneous Inspiration and the Strangle are the only cards we've drawn with less than 5 mana cost so far. I mean, our deck is definitely tilted towards the high end, but that was the wrong choice there. If you look at my graveyard, there's really not great spells to play. I mean, I guess the Doomscar is okay, but knowing that I've already got a card foretold when I played Doomscar, I think the Arcane Bombardment would have been a better choice to take there. Lorehold Command. That's a good card. I feel like that is maybe one card I wouldn't mind going up in the deck. Currently running 2, I think 3 would not be a bad idea because it can swing the tide in a lot of matchups. It's pretty good against aggro. It's pretty good against control just because you get some damage and a body down. It's great against these man lands that everybody wants to play now. Unfortunately, the 3-2 isn't really a blocker in this matchup, but we can live with that. At least we can get some damage started here. We got another Invoke Calamity, so it feels like Wizards is trying to make us lose this hand. Just doing their best. We've gotten all 3 of our Invoke Calamities, 3 of our Doomscars, and both of our Invoke Justices. So I kind of have to make a desperation play here to put a land on board to get the arcane bombardment down, since they're making us wait so long to get up to that 6th land, and then hope things kind of improve from there. If I get a Doomscar in my arcane bombardment, that's a pretty big win there. And just having this 7/6 creature, we got rid of the Otawara, which could have bounced our arcane bombardment, which would have been a bummer to finally get it down and then have it bounced. Had to go with a card draw there just so we could still Doomscar the board. Hopefully the next turn we can get the arcane bombardment down. Right there, I think I should have played the arcane bombardment first. But we would have to use our treasure, so I guess I'm being a little stingy with that. Maybe unnecessarily, I would say. Might have been better off just keeping that. Another quick kill to Linvala, which I think is good. Get some card draw by sacrificing a permanent. And now all we can draw is land. So hopefully we can get something going. Give us all the big cards with not enough land to play them. And then once we have enough land, by hook or by crook, then just give us all the lands. Oh, there we go. All the lands. Thank you. Really not great plays there. I'd almost like to wait till I can get the strangle in with the Lorehold command, but at the same time, we have a pretty good advantage now with the opponent having kind of a clear board, so I think if we can get some aggression going with them being at 10 life, I think that's, not a bad idea either. Thought maybe we're going to get roped here, but nope, they had a play. They were just calculating it out. And that makes this a lot easier then. We got Invoke Calamity with our Arcane Bombardment. So we're basically playing 2 Invoke Calamities here. So we can double kill the Valkyrie, draw some more cards, and then still kill Giada. And draw some more cards. So if that's not a pretty amazing 5-mana play, I'm not sure what is. We just filled our hand to the point that, if we don't do something, we'd have to discard. Get all our lands back from the graveyard just for fun, and that's a good game. Good game. Working up Platinum tier. On to the next hand. So we got the Arcane Bombardment there, which I thought was great. Can go a lot of hands without seeing that. I didn't see any Volumacus that hand. He can sometimes show up for, 3 cards right away early in the game, and then sometimes you won't see him for a few hands. But amazingly, we still can pull off wins without our main win con ever coming. So I think that's what gives it that consistency. Here we had land, we had the Professor and the Doomscars. Really not much more we can ask for in an opening hand. Just like establishing a really early board. It looks like we're going against runes. So things like Rip Apart, Igneous Inspiration, Doomscar, all of those are going to be very useful in this matchup. And honestly, at this point even, I feel really good about this matchup to the point that I don't think we can lose. Now we've got the Invoke Calamity, so that's, puts instant speed Doomscar online, which is great against the ruins because they often will play a hasty, huge, beastly creature that can finish you off in one turn. So being able to have the instant speed Doomscar completely negates their ability to do that. Oh, we got an Elspeth, which is kind of a new addition to this, I guess. Shield counters are one thing in this new expansion I was kind of worried about, just the fact that we've got to do double damage. But I think, here we can get rid of one with the creature. And we're going to take out all the permanents still. So I think that's a pretty good round for us, despite the fact that we had to sacrifice our creature and 2 cards to clear their boards, because we got 6 cards in hand. They've got 5. We've got bombs in our hand. We can wipe the board a couple times. We can get anything back from our graveyard. We can throw down Mascot Exhibition, which I think, depending, might not be a bad idea. I can't imagine they have a lot of board wipes, as they're seeing to play kind of a creature-oriented deck. So I think, like I said before, we're in pretty good shape here. I don't think there's a lot they can realistically do to get back in this. I'll ramp a little bit. That'll actually be able to attack, so I guess that's interesting. Well, that helps us even more. We can use the Emperor and that Strangle to take out both of these threats and save our board wipes for something more threatening. Which, I mean, if you can take out 2 threats like that consistently every turn, I don't think they can get back in this. The Wandering Emperor is a card that I recently added. I initially had playtested it with some and kind of liked it, but I found I was kind of getting screwed over on having enough instants and sorceries. So I took them out. And I think throughout the evolution of the deck, I've added more instants and sorceries naturally. So having a couple of those in the deck is actually pretty helpful. It's a great removal. It can add a little bit of aggression to the board. It's good in all the matchups. So, I mean, if anything, I would try to add maybe one more even. So we go with the Mascot Exhibition here just to get more presence on the board. Now we can block that Legion Angel and kill it at an even trade, which is really good for us. We have nothing we can attack with yet, but we're getting there. At this point of the game, against this matchup, I'm fine like wiping the board still a couple times. I wouldn't be surprised if I need to. There they got in a good lick, being able to kill our Wandering Emperor this turn, it looks like. But it's really not central to our win con or strategy at this point, so I'm not too concerned. At this point, we're just basically grinding them out. And that's a great card for us because we can get their Topiary Stomper, their Legion Angel, whatever we want with it. But we're not necessarily in any rush because, you know, we've got a lot of options on our board here. They didn't put down the second Legion Angel, probably because they were scared of a board wipe. But because of that, we can single target kill it and, you know, save our board wipes for when we need them down the road. I think one thing to mention too with all of the removal and things in this deck is that most of them are multifunctional. I would say really the Doomscar is the most focused of the removal, and it's just, you know, it's really good. It's hard not to use. Although there is the new white card, 2 white, 2 colorless, that if you control a multicolored creature, you draw a card and then destroy all creatures, which is pretty good also. I would consider adding that. In this situation, you know, versus the Doomscar, I don't know. Is it as good? Maybe. It's nice because it's 4 mana instead of 5 for Invoke Calamity. So then you could do a 2 mana with it instead of needing the 1 mana. So that's a consideration. But I think just being able to foretell the Doomscar is helpful to get it out of your hand on turn 2 before they can increase the cost of it. Oh, we'll do a clean slate here now that we've got the Lorehold finally for the first time in these first 2 hands. Pretty excited about that. If I was on the other side of the table, I'm probably done when I see that, but I guess, you know, they're still fighting. I mean, just give me all the Legion Angels. I'm not too concerned. And this we can get some more cards first just to be able to kill that and keep the board clean before we go in. I want to get the best value that we can out of the Velomachus. So I tend to like to make sure it's safe enough to get in for the damage and also get in with the spell. It's a real bummer to play him for 7 mana, not get to attack, and not get to cast off the top. So you're almost better waiting in almost every situation if that's what's happening. Getting him countered, that's different. I'm okay with that. So you see here we're prepared with the Invoke Calamity for an instant speed wipe for that. Best way, I guess, we can Lorehold and then strangle it, just so we get 3 life out of it as well. Slightly better than a Doomscar. Probably not a big difference either way, but might as well, you know, make the best play you can. Now we get to do this. We're getting more cards just to make sure we can finish it. We've got double Doomscars. Probably scoop this turn, unless they want to block one more, or try to block one more, although we have the Igneous Inspiration for that. I guess let's see if they have a removal. Oh, they do. Well, we still got the lethal with our burn. Since they already got through our attack phase, we'll just make sure that we finish them this turn. Could have done the Introduction to Prophecy and grabbed a land and then cast the Igneous, but game is over, so no point in doing that. It's usually better just to end it when you can, honestly. No point in rubbing somebody's face in a defeat. We just showed just how much you could have beaten them by. And just showing the strangles and the lore holds and the big score all really came up big. I got that wish card as a reward, and it made me think that might be a cool one with arcane bombardment. So I added it in there for that reason. I mean, you grabbing a card from outside the game every turn for a couple turns would probably end it. But I think, you know, just doing what we can within the game is pretty good too. Here we had to mulligan just because we didn't have the right lands. That's really important. A lot we could have put back there. There's really not anything I'd want in my opening hand here. You can see we're kind of flooded with the high cost again. The rip apart is nice to at least have something early game. I'm not sure that it will come in handy here. Yeah, Raffine is a little tough. Thought about double casting to kill him there. Might have been the right move, but I really hated the idea of having to use 2 spells to take care of their 3 mana creature. And then at this point, yeah, good game. I can already tell I'm behind enough here that it's not gonna... Maybe we need to draw a Doomscar and hope they don't have a counter. Which... it's not very likely with these blue decks. Usually, I know counters aren't super dominating right now, but usually there's some form of counters in these blue decks. I think we've got a creature-based counter spell in here. Now the point this is 4/7, I need a board wipe to kill it. That's the only way. I've got mana for anything, but so we can use the symbology to exile that. And if this goes through, this is like probably the point that we could turn the game. If we exile that, I don't know what else they have for creatures, but they've been playing it pretty close to the vest. But yeah, that's it. All they have to do is discard a non-land card and they win. So we can scoop there. Better luck next hand. Better luck next hand. Would have been interesting to see how that would have worked out if I would have killed the Raffi right off the bat. Could have definitely changed the complexion of that game. I think next time I would definitely kill that right away. Just knowing that they could have a counter later on. Seems kind of like a tempo type deck where you get that down and you keep it going and you try to protect it. All right, we got Blood Chief. That's all right. We got our Introduction to Prophecy. I took that because we had a lot of lands already. And worst case scenario, we can pay 1 more than a Sciences to get a land. And then, you know, we got our Sciences anyway. Does not look like we need the board wipes because we already got it. And we have, now we have, you know, a couple ways to play it. So, okay. This is kind of a strange... I haven't seen the Realm Walker in a while. So we got the Elf in play. We'll kill that just so they can't get anything going with it. Get Academic Probation just because it's a nice card to, you know, maybe get niche strategies out of play. There's a lot we could do here, but I think getting Arcane Bombardment down is great. We can wipe the board. We can do Academic Probation. We could go through our graveyard. If we go through our graveyard, we can wipe the board with that and learn twice, which sounds pretty good. And also have a pretty high chance of getting one of those good cards under arcane bombardment. Playing Golgari, they could have binding. If they do, I guess I'm not too concerned. I've got the invoke calamities, all that stuff. This is good just to get the Doomscar in there, to be able to do it at instant speed guaranteed with the invoke calamity. Could have really gone either way there, but also didn't really need to learn or know what I need right now, so decided to wait on that. That's a card that I feel like is pretty good that doesn't get played a lot. Lifelink, flying, protection from planeswalkers, pretty good. There we got a great draw to take care of that. I mean, there's a lot of other ways we could have taken care of it, but that works as well as any. And we're 2-1. And on to the next. Lands and Professor and a early removal. So I think that's pretty good. This is another one that we'll have to see what we actually want to grab with the Professors. If we do want land, maybe we need removal. I think anytime that I see I'm going against blue, I get the land because I feel like it's going to be a long game. So we might as well pull those lands out. Although this definitely looks like a more aggressive type with the Gala Greeters. But I think, we'll get a land with Sciences. And then we'll just take them out so we can get in for damage too. We'll play a little aggressive here since we have 2 creatures and not much else. I decided to do it during their turn. Then at least if they do counter it, I have my turn to do whatever I want to do. A lot of times you'll see that I'll main phase a big score or similar. And it's just because, sometimes if they're tapped out, I don't want to risk it. Sometimes, if I don't care if it gets countered, I'll do that. It's just kind of a matter of the situation. I know probably most people would say you shouldn't main phase the instance like that unless, you need it there, but no harm, no foul if you do sometimes. So we got Falco with a shield, which would be annoying if we didn't have the Amarius Call. Or, we have an inspiration to kill it. Or at least take the shield off. But we'll see if we can get the shield off. Maybe with the Professor. Because the shield moves even if they don't take the lethal damage. It's just any damage at all. So, I guess we'll... The way that worked out was probably not the best. But I didn't know they were going to have a Wandering Emperor. Probably could have got in more damage had we anticipated that. But I guess I wasn't really in that situation with that deck. I didn't expect to see that pop down. But like I said, it's good against aggro. It's good against control. Can probably fit a couple in any deck that uses white mana. See what we get here. Okay, so again, I've said this before, but Velomachus dodges the Wandering Emperor beautifully because he doesn't tap to attack. And despite the fact that they played 2 Wandering Emperors in 2 turns, we've still got a pretty good board, and we should be able to finish this off. They maybe bought another turn there by gaining that life, but we'll make him not block and get him down to 1. And we probably could have killed him from there with the Seize of Spoils, but either way, I think they saw as well as we did that the end was near. There's that wish I was talking about. Yeah. I feel like that would be fun. We'll pop it into the sideboard as a reminder to maybe try it out sometime. I can never tell which symbols are which there. There we go. For future use, eventually. Tried to play some other decks here. I was going to quit, but decided to go on. try to rank up before the night's over. But, you know, I've tried the Obnixilis deck, which he's ridiculously good, but I don't know. That it's kind of overdone, you know. You see red and black and you know it's coming, and pretty soon people are going to adjust to it and just have, you know, really quick ways to kill it. I'm sure it will get me with this deck at times just because we can get off to slow starts, but I don't know. Just not into it right now. I've tried some of the family decks as well. I'm a semi-free player, so I don't have all the cards, but just to kind of get the concepts, and I thought it was great. It's fun. I like the mechanics, but I don't think it's doing anything better than what I'm doing with this deck, or funner anyway. So I just always am kind of coming back to this, and, you know, adding a few cards from the set definitely helps keep it fresh. The 1 mana spot was definitely a tough spot to be in. But see, we kept the board clear there. They could only get a single ob down, so we're basically only out 2 life, which is, you know, pretty easily negated with an environmental sciences. These guys are playing the version with green splashed, obviously. We'll kill that because, I mean, honestly, for them, I don't think it was a good move to attack with that, because if they do get another Obnixilis, they'll have to minus to get the demon for the life gain again. So I think they should have tried to preserve that. I don't think too many people are going to go out of their way to kill it. So I think it's just something you let sit on the board till you get your Obnixilis again, unless you're not confident that you will get it again. At this point, we can hold up the lore hold. Even if they do play a land, we can do 6 damage to that beast. This version obviously has all the great green cards added as well. Well, they kind of got us there with the instant speed removal, but we still got 3 life out of it and prevented the, you know, some of the damage anyway. We're in pretty good shape. So we still have ways to take care of that. Do we want to just kill it now? The thing is, if they play another land, then invoke calamity, then igneous and strangle would not kill it, or invoke calamity with lore hold, and strangle would not kill it. They do seem to have a pretty great strategy for everything we do. They've got the big reach creatures. They've got Obnixilis. But they are impressed by the second turn in a row of the Lorehold destruction. We got him that time. Now we need something instant speed, because they do have the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. So that's kind of a bummer. Almost makes me wish I would have killed him the turn before with the Strangle and the Igneous. So they just keep coming. It's not a great feel to use the Reduce to Memory on there. We can definitely survive another turn, so I think we take a little bit of a risk and try to get more cards just to be able to get Velomachus down. We still have a high life total that we managed to preserve early on. It's one I would have liked for them not to take, but we've got another one we can put in there, so we can work around that. Now we'll be able to use him to block next turn, so I don't think they could possibly put lethal on us. It's a tough call here. Could Doomscar, could Igneous, so they wouldn't block it. Oh, they're tapped anyway. That's right, they attack. So I guess Igneous to the face. I've still got the Academic Probation that I can use to make that creature not able to attack or block. So I think next turn, that's not the worst move. We definitely surprised they didn't attack there, but they must be prepared for a reanimation, which is not a bad move. Mana-wise, we're kind of a little short here to do what we want. So we're just going to do some face and learn. Get a big board established. We can block that. He has no trample, so we can block him for quite a while. Yep. Academic Probation, baby. This is the perfect deck for it. You always have it when you need it with all the learning. Almost always. I mean, nothing is always. So we get hit for 3 here from the Hive. They get another card. Still not too concerned. I fully expected them to take the academic probation just because it got them that turn, but they went another route. This is a pretty rough feeling move, but I do feel like the meat hook there is, could be a problem if they keep getting more creatures, and we need to get rid of that creature. So I opted for that over alternative things to do. They had the Deadly Dispute, so it didn't end up great. Almost should have gotten artifacts too, but I guess I kind of wanted to keep my treasure. The underdog. Yeah. They get a card out of it, which they have so many cards. I don't think that, getting cards here is the greatest thing, but they do have a lot of mana, so. Yeah, and we get Ob Nixilis again. Twice in one game, man. Brutal. But see how they had to play the devil again? I mean, I think we would have gotten it out anyway. So now if we can get in with a Velemachus, that's probably our best hope, right? 5 damage. If we can pull something, get some count. Oh, we got it. Invoke Justice will do it. Did they good game me there? I think they did. I think their good game was a good game. You tried hard, but you lost. But no, we pulled it off. It was nice. Fully looked over once they played that second Ob Nixilis, not gonna lie. I was ready to give it up there. So this, I mean, we got enough mana for Seize the Spoil. We got big score after, and we got 2 Doom Scars. So we've got early removal, and we've got nice card draw for against the control type matchups. So we're going to go with that. I love it. Love to have a Professor, but, we can deal with that. And then these mono black types, if that really is what this deck is, we usually do okay against with slower starts like this. They're going to beat us in card advantage, but we're going to, come ahead in other ways, like with our removal, getting more than 1 for 1, and our Velemachus getting extra cards, so we're going to be okay. Generally, in this matchup. We got the Orzhov. I'm not sure. The Warlock class I don't see a lot of in the Orzhov, so I'm wondering what other ways they're trying to get good use out of that. That's an interesting move. It honestly, that was great. It saved me the trouble of having to wipe the board from little 2 damage creatures. So there you saw I main phased, just to see in case I got something I could do with the treasures, like a Professor. So right now that's tough when they get us with a Invoke Despair right away. We've got to hope a little bit that they don't have a couple more in their hand, but they very well could, because that's good damage on us. We don't have Planeswalkers, and we don't have enchantments. At one point, I was playing 2 Test of Talents in the deck with 2, dual blue lands. And that was great against these matchups. They did run the Invoke Despairs, that ran the Magma Opuses and things like that. But I think in the current meta, I've, kind of been able to pull out the counter spells and just kind of do more of what I'm doing rather than try to counteract what other people are doing to me. I mean, we've got him down to 12 life. There's definitely some options here. The Onduwood is nice because it gets rid of the Warlock class. And get a threat on the board that they have to deal with, and then we know what their mana is doing this turn, if nothing else, right? Meat Hook. Oh, Path of Peril. That's a really cheap removal for that. They hit 3 of them. 40 cards in. I mean, not 40 cards in, 41 cards left. So 19 cards in, hit 3 of the Path of Peril. Not bad, not bad. Still getting the sciences for the land, just because I don't want to be drained to death. I mean, there we gained 4 life that turn. That's a nice cushion against like Meat Hook, Warlock class, things like that. So now they have a threat. We know what they have in hand. I mean, 2 of them anyway. They can get rid of whatever they want, and we draw a card, which I think we can probably use to our advantage more than anything. And they burned a soul transfer just to get an eye twitch back. They must be thinking they're getting close to lethal here. They don't realize what they're up for. We have not given you our best yet. We're almost getting them to the point that we could burn them out now, right? And we save for the undo, which came in huge there. Got rid of Sorin, all the creatures, the next meat hook. All right, so what do we want to do here? I guess we just take care of their mascot exhibition and start facing them, right? Yep, it's about good game at this point. They're going to get us close, but not quite with the Invoke Despair. And burn you shall. That was tight. That was that second Invoke Despair I was worried about, but we did manage to rank up. Tier 3. Onward. Maybe like 4-1 there, maybe? Something like that. And that was it for that night. Here we come back again. A new day, a new challenge. Fresh into Tier 3. Day 2. Four lands, 2 ways to learn, and a big hitter. That gets us 6 lands. I mean, that's basically 6 lands in our hand. So we're almost to Valamakis, which is nice. We got a couple early-ish plays. I hate seeing Is It, but maybe they are not super counterspelly. With the Goldhound, maybe they're trying to ramp into things a little bit. We'll see. I think we just let it run rampant for now, though. I mean, I guess we could Igneous it because it's tapped, so then they can't do a 5 mana play next turn. I think that's the right move because they probably have a gold span. Oh, they really like that guy, I guess. They must be light on land. And save him again. Even if they do save him here, I know I missed the learn this turn and last, but they're saving a 1/1 creature with all their cards, so I'm pretty good with that. I mean, he has Menace and First Strike, but so at this point, I mean, we could do the big score. Probably better off during their turn because they do have open blue mana. And we've already seen that they have counters. Oh. This will guarantee we get enough mana to cast our Doomscar, which is probably a good thing because we got a tap land there. Oh, that's the one we needed. Kind of a sus play to drop the Leer, but maybe they're light on blue mana, and they were hoping to sneak it through. Now at this point, I mean, if they don't counter this, we'd be in a great spot. I think that's Valamakis next turn, right? 7 mana. Valamakis and Arcane Bombardment. Oof. He casts stuff for no mana, so that will trigger Arcane Bombardment, and we'll start popping cards in there. They could have the blue land Otagua or whatever it is. It's pretty big restraint to do this. Just because if I do play the Valamakis, they either counter it or destroy it before it can attack. Then I got nothing out of my Arcane Bombardment. So they scooped. Definitely the right move there. Just to make sure we get that trigger and put a card there. And when you put Invoke Calamity there, that's pretty good. As long as you can cast an instant or sorcery every turn, you can Invoke Calamity every turn. So you could also use that to kind of filter your graveyard in a way. I don't know if I have a game on recording of that, but you cast Invoke Calamity just to get rid of your 2 or 1 of your environmental sciences anyway, or whatever's in the graveyard you don't want to pop on the Arcane Bombardment. You could, get it down to 1, and then you know what card you're getting there the next turn, which is pretty sweet. I thought about getting rid of the Invoke Calamities just because of that, but decided to keep him. It's a great card. It's fun. Instant Doomscar. Okay, so we're going against the artifact deck here. You know, we had a decent starting hand. We have the right lands, ways to learn. We get rid of that guy first because he can make more 3/1s, even though he himself is not a real threat to the board. Play a tap land to get a life. We don't have anything for 1 mana anyway. Okay, now we're at the point that, you know, we have some options. We have Lorehold Command, we have Doomscar. Just kind of depends what we want to do. Farewell is really good for this deck. I could see, you know, a lot of options here. We could do the Lorehold. We could have foretold Doomscar and got Sciences to get the Farewell down next turn. But I think this is a way to go. Then if they want to... I wanted to make sure I killed both creatures here. It would have been nice to not let them have the artifact to sacrifice by killing both creatures, but I think this was the way to go, just to get both other creatures, and then they're really left with, you know, just that sad little 1/1 that they can keep sacrificing. Okay, well, they preserve the 3/1, I guess. That's all right. We probably want to get up to 6. We might want to clear first. We'll just get up to 6 lands. That will open up our Arcane Bombardment and our Doomscar, which we will foretell both just because, you know, this matchup does have quite a few creatures. A lot of them are looking to dodge our stuff here. The Sanguine Statue is really good against us, coming down like that and getting in for an extra 3. We just got to get rid of the Oni. We got to get rid of the statue here. Getting rid of just the creatures is not enough. We're down to 8. And another Sanguine Statue that they can get in with right away. I'd say that's a good draw for them. So right now we have no way to deal with that statue. We're effectively on a 2-turn timer. And we've got to play this sneaky just to even survive. You know, they got 4 damage next turn with the Bugbear. They've got the statue. They can't do both in 1 turn yet. And so then again, Academic Probation is the only thing we have to stop that statue. Ooh, that was definitely a little... Man, that was a little sketch to me. To sacrifice one of your threats just to get some cards, but I think they feel like they really gotta get something they can damage us with. I think really all we can do here is Bombardment, unless we wanted to learn, but there's no guarantee we would draw another sorcery to do something with, so we go down to 1. If we get an instant, we can Arcane Bombardment during their turn. Oof. That's going to be, yeah. That's a tough loss, tough loss. 4-2, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure if we deranked there or not. Sometimes you don't when you like are fresh on a new rank. I guess we'll have to see after the next one. I didn't even pay attention. This is a good starting hand, though. We've got the Professor, enough lands to cast it, +1, and Seize the Spoils. This Farewell is haunting us now. Hopefully it comes in handy. Looks good seeing the Spirited Companion. Nice that they tapped all their mana. That was a tough call. I just wanted to keep the Strangle for a low-cost thing. I'm not sure if that's right in hindsight. Probably not. Because I think these are kind of more of a control-y pile of cards we're going against. Or at least not overly aggressive. I attack here just so they can't draw a card. I'm not ready for them to be getting any card advantage yet. We want to keep them at 1 creature for now. I'm going to keep the Strangle just for a Planeswalker. Could come in handy for sure. See, even in fast forward speed, some people take a while for some decisions here. You didn't know you were going to play Wedding Announcement, huh? Okay, cool story. This is a bit of a risk. We're going to let them draw a card. We're going to get our arcane bombardment down and hope that they don't have a way to bounce or destroy that. Really, at this point, bouncing it, we can't play it back next turn. We don't have the land. And we probably got to do other things if we're not doing anything with that anyway. Okay, Nico. I've seen Nico a little bit lately. Drawing all the cards. This is kind of like a, makes this feel more like a mono-black matchup to me than a true Azorius matchup, because they're just doing everything they can to draw cards, and they're not doing as many of the counter-spelly things. In most of these decks I've seen anyway. Not to say they won't have some counters, but it won't be their focus. Let's see what we get here. Oh, perfect. So that's got to feel bad to have both your wedding announcements doused, within a turn or two. That works out well for us. The 3 creatures don't scare us. They're all doing 1 damage. We've got 2 Doom Scars. We're going to go face. I think that's a little intimidating too, isn't it? You got a board of 3 creatures and we're going face. We're definitely at a disadvantage here, but it doesn't feel bad yet. That definitely helps their cause. The Hermit, they can do that right now. See what we get with our bombardment. Maybe we can take him out, force them to use the counter ahead of time. I think they're going to have to counter. Or they save the counter for the... yeah, we'll see which order it resolves. I think I should have more control over these triggers, and I did find a setting to do that. So I think that's probably good to have a little more control over these triggers. So this is our invoke calamity resolving. We'll get some cards because we don't need that sciences, and we'll do more face. So one of the cool things about this deck is it performs, and you have to play it differently depending what kind of deck you're playing. You have to know when is the right time to kind of take it easy and when you need to kind of put a little aggression on the board. What games are more important to have cards, and other games are more important to have a board presence. Oh, okay. All our fun was bound to come to an end. You can't have invoke calamity every turn forever, unfortunately. They've got possible counter magic held up, so I think we'll hold off on the Velomachus since we don't have a way to get it back, and we'll try to do something impactful next turn. They don't really know what we're holding here, so could be Lorehold Command. Fortunately, it's not. That is a card that's really good with a Malevolent Hermit, I must admit. We're going to do our big score ahead of time to make sure it can't get countered. Because that's one of the few creatures that you don't want to attack and block with anyway. That still serves a good purpose. And he's easy to get in the graveyard. Sorry about that. So they can't counter this because it's a creature spell. That's why we're going with this now. We also have another one to back it up if they do counter it. I mean, I could see a lot of good cards for us here. A Doomscar would be okay. It's going to clear the board. We are down to 10, so I think that's what we do. It's a tough call sometime to kill your own creature, but we'll use our treasures for that. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure at first if they didn't see the treasures or if they had another thing, but in one way, it's not a huge bad thing for that to be countered. We still can survive the next turn or two. And I decided we need to get to 8 land there to make sure we can do Arcane Bombardment and Academic Probation, without having to get luck into drawing a land. So despite the fact that Amirius would have been great to cast, I thought that was more important to really get the Arcane Bombardment going. So we'll, of course, have to block that. We still get another card coming up, though. We have got our opponent down to 12 with our burn. So we got a tap land, so nice that we had the Amirias in next turn, or that would have put us down to 1. This is tough, but the fact that they're tapped out, you know, we clear the board with the Doomscar, kind of stabilize a little bit, and we go from there. So we didn't end up needing the land, but having that option was great. Well, I think we got lucky there. They must have thought we had something we didn't. They could have lethaled us with the Hall. At the same time, they're probably, you know, more concerned with what we're doing than maybe trying to kill us. So I think that would have done. Oh, no, I had the Field of Ruin open. My bad. That's why I left that open. That actually keeps us in this game for a couple hands here. We've got to make sure we keep the land up for that. It's our only defense against the Hall. It doesn't do any good to kill one because they have 2, so they could just activate that. So right now we're in a spot where we're going to take at least 1 damage next turn. You know, probably pretty safe to say 1 damage. That's only going to put us at 4, which is fine. Especially considering we have the Lorehold command, where next turn, their turn, we could potentially do 3 damage to Nico Eris, and then also put a blocker in to kill their Spirited Companion. So I feel like that's a pretty good outcome for us at this point. That'd put us up to, well, we're going to go down to 4, so that would put us up to 7. Seems like really their biggest threat that they have is the Hall of the Storm Giants. Everything else is just kind of like smaller damage type stuff, so not quite as concerned with that. Okay, well, they got our arcane bombardment, but that's okay, because that means they have 1 less way to deal with Velomachus. I think we still have to be cautious, you know. If we play Velomachus and they remove him, we're in bad shape, right? So we'll just get rid of Nico, and we're going to hold up Lorehold. If they were able to plus it again, then it'd be out of Lorehold damage rage anyway. I think I'm about to make a minor misplay here that does not come back to haunt us, maybe? Or maybe it does. I definitely feel a minor misplay incoming. I think I was not necessarily sold on making the 3-2. And then once I decided I was making it, I didn't go back and reconsider my target. So that was a bummer, but it didn't have a huge impact on the game. Would have just done 3 more damage to their face, basically. We made both of these big enough to, you know, that they have to be blocked. Can't leave both of them go, and whatever you block is going to die. And then we got an Invoke Calamity, which is getting us the Lorehold, which is, you know, going to make one of theirs dead and give us a clear path. And then we're on to the next. This one might be a little later in the day, I think. That looks like a good start. We've got the Professor, which gives us some land. We got the Strangle for removal and Big Score for card draw. And then we can use Invoke Calamity to replay the Big Score and Strangle worst case scenario, which is a pretty good worst case scenario. Okay, we got mono white aggro. We don't have a Doomscar. Let's see if we can get it done. We've got to keep the Hopeful Initiate from training, ideally, so we can trade with the Professor. Or at least use it to hold up. Okay, so they could take the Big Score, Seize the Spoils, Invoke Calamity. I mean, I would normally say that's not bad, but I think with the Invoke Calamity in hand, I would have taken that, especially because I could still do the Seize the Spoils. I Thought about playing a Professor there, but I already have one blocker, and if they want a Skyclave, that's perfectly fine with me. Okay, they're going off a little bit. Looks like we're definitely going to take some damage next turn. We don't have a good graveyard for Invoke Calamity, so we do want to get down a blocker, I think. Or we just take this damage and go for the big score. Those are kind of our options right now. Yeah, okay, so kind of a combo play is to go Seize the Spoils and Strangle. So then we get one removal. This is a tough call. I'll get rid of the flyer just because I don't have anything to chump it. And we're not going to have Velomachus down real soon. So that saved them from training too. Oh, I'm not sure why they scooped there, if they felt like they kind of maxed out. But, I mean, I feel like we probably pull that off, getting Velomachus down that next turn. But I feel like they scooped a little quick there. But we'll take it. We'll take a win when we can. Everybody knows Arenas gives you an L when it can sometimes, so we'll take the wins too. To always play the Windscarred Craig if you have that in your opening hand. That's almost always the first land you want to play because it has to be tapped. The other lands you can maybe get out untapped, like Amiria's. Even if you have to pay, it's still nice to have the option. So we're getting in damage right away, which is good. We're going to gain some life, which is good because this looks like an Obnixilis pile. So we'll try to... Okay, we're almost the aggressors here, honestly. It looks like, we got him down to 16. Got to kill that life link. We're not super concerned with the opponent gaining life necessarily, but we don't want it to get out of hand. So we'll get it next turn maybe with the Igneous. Could also maybe go for Sorin, since we still have 22 life. Oh, well, there's the Obnixilis. Well, there's no way to come back from this, right? Double Obnixilis and Sorin. GG. Need an instant or sorcery here. We always want to kill the copy first. Sorin, yeah. It might be a little gutsy there to take Sorin, but he had 3. Ob only has 1. And I can definitely kill him next turn. If they plus the Sorin, I can't. So that's why I went with that. We have a good life total still. Ooh. Well, we're back to Sorin and 1 Obnixilis, huh? Still looking hopeless. We can do Seize the Spoils, get a land or treasure, and pop off the Igneous, right? Or 2 lands. This might be one of the, I don't know what to call it, like a shuffling algorithm where you have low lands in the beginning and then get the big cards, big cost cards, and then you just draw lands forever. Luckily, we already have a couple big play cards in our hand, or we'd be in trouble. So now they got a way to get treasure. They got some drain with the meat hook. We've got options again. That's what's great about this deck. Lots of options. I mean, the Invoke Calamity opens up our whole graveyard. We do have 3 threats to deal with right now, so that's a bit unfortunate. But we can get all of them with a Strangle and a Doomscar, which feels pretty good. The 1 mana Strangle, that's about all we could sneak in there that would do that. Although it's sorcery speed, it's, sometimes played at instant speed with Invoke Calamity, and that's come in huge for us. Well, they got a quick board again. They got in some damage. I think they're trying to finish us off. It's a great play to draw some cards with that Tenacious. We've got stuff happening now, though. We got 10 life, so we can be a little aggressive with the Velomachus. I mean, Invoke Calamity is almost always the right play if you see it. We can get cards, and we can do some damage. And here we don't have much choice. We kind of have to go face, just because we can't kill that anyway. 3 mana. We do a Professor for a blocker, just for an emergency. Get another Learn. Get a little more life. I think that's a priority against these Obnixilus decks, is squeezing the little bit of life we can out of this. Gain that life while you can. That's, we'll take it. I think the Tenacious Underdog is it's a great card in this set. It's a threat that continually needs to be answered, and I think it might lead to a lot more graveyard hate, which could make it a little tougher for us. But I've definitely had games where I've underwent a lot of graveyard hate and still won, so I'm not too concerned. You can see here we made like a huge play to finish them off in one turn. So that's why the face burn kind of came in handy there. And we're climbing Platinum 3. Or like 6 and 2 or 7 or 2 or something like that maybe. And quick look at the deck again. I'm going to get rid of one Invoke Calamity and add another Emperor at this point. I thought I had done it early, honestly, but I guess that's the thing of doing the video afterwards. But yeah, 3 Invoke Calamities in your hand is never good, I don't think. It's just too many. Especially with Arcane Bombardment. If not for the Arcane Bombardment, I think it would definitely be reasonable to keep the 3. I will say too, I'm not 100% sold on the Arcane Bombardment. It's a great card, but I don't know if it helps us that much more than Invoke Calamity would. You've seen times where it's gone down and got bounced, never had any effect at all. We've also seen times where it did a double Invoke Calamity. And could you imagine a turn where you had Arcane Bombardment down, got that Valimachus, and ended up with a double Invoke Calamity on top of that? That's a big play. Well, you're casting you're attacking with a 5/5 minimum, and you're casting 4 spells in one turn. 4 good spells, probably. So it looks like we're going against another aggro deck. Maybe this is an Obscura type. I'll have to kind of see. We've got the Doomscar, we've got lands, and we've got enough early plays to deal with this. We've got 2 Doomscars, which is probably going to be overkill. I'm not sure what I decide to do with this second one, if I eventually foretell it or save it for a discard, but okay, so Raffine got us last time, right? This is another spot where that second Emperor really comes in handy, because that is something that can deal with Raffine, which we were definitely lacking. Oh, they have a counter? Yeah, okay, Obscura Interceptor. Just returns to hand, though, so we can still do it next turn. Although I don't know if we'll need to, because we used up their mana for a Doomscar, which is nice. I mean, they can't counter us anymore. So we could do the 5 mana Doomscar. That's probably what I do. I like to do that. No point in wasting the Foretold one for 3 mana. Don't have anything to discard with. Oh, another Raffi. Luckily, we have the answer in hand still. If they have another counter, so be it. We'll get him eventually. All right, so eventually that can start training up, which is a little unfortunate, but I don't think they can attack here, knowing what we have. Kind of considered it, and I thought, okay, let's get something going here. It doesn't look like they're going to want to wipe the board, so I might as well have some presence. And give this guy first strike. It's pretty obvious to attack here, but I mean, I don't see any reason not to. Definitely unfortunate there that we lost that so fast. They'll get our Emperor down to 1. Well, possibly anyway. Which would get it out of Raffine killing range. Do they know we? No, they don't know we have a Valimachus. Could honestly see just doing the Doomscar next turn would be a good move. I mean, even if we do draw land, that might be the way to go. Yeah, well, that made it easier. Then we can clear the board, get our own threat down. get a card. There we go. So try to get something a little bigger than a Luminart can get on us, hopefully. Okay, well, we can rip that apart and then we'll actually get another learn from that, which is pretty great. And it knocked them off 1+ of their Intrepid. It's a little tougher to, yeah, but then we have a blocker for the Intrepid, so it's the best thing to do. I don't know if opponent is a little salty that we have removal in our deck or what. Okay. We got a couple blockers in case they Brutal Cathar. That was actually the thought there. Yeah, that's pretty much good game. We've got our land. We've got Villamachus. They don't really have anything to answer that. We can plus it with the Emperor. Get it up to 6, which is relevant for some of our spells. Yeah, might as well take the removal because it gets us another card as well. Good game. Mono white doused. Peace. Still had so much left to deal with it. I mean, it was eye-opening. Mono white, you done. Oh, what do we got here? Another Sorin pile or just the Avatar? That's kind of rough because it's no red mana. It's only 2 lands. Too risky. This looks a lot better. Get rid of the Invoke Justice because we have nothing to use it on anyway. And we keep going. Now the Igneous will get us another land. We may seize the spoils first. It's kind of tough to say which way the game is going to go. I guess if they're aggro, we're probably going to do Igneous Inspiration first, and if they're more control, we'll probably end up seizing the spoils first. More land, it's white, might as well. Then when we foretell the Doomscar, they know we can do it. Oh, okay, this is like a rune type pile. Thought about getting more cards, but decided we should just kill him, keep our land coming. It's their only threat right now. We've got the Doomscar. Let's try to save it as long as we can. Big score sciences. Either way, we'll do it main phase. They're not going to counter it. It's not helping to wait. Let's not have any holds if we don't need to. All right, so we're getting some damage here. Fortunately, we didn't get a way to deal with that. I could have kept that land. I really wanted to play Velomachus, so I made an error there. I guess it hasn't come up much for me where I've had the double legendary lands. I only ever play 2 max, so my bad. We could have had him next turn, which we will anyway. It basically delayed us for a turn, and we drew some cards instead. So I guess it's an alternate play line, which results in this generous visitor smacking us a bit. All right, so we need to do something here. We definitely can't risk just doing Velomachus, I don't think. They also don't have trample on him yet, but if they did, we would be, possibly done. So usually when I see Michigo, I just try to get the board wipe so they don't get any value out of that. No point in letting them plus a creature even if I can block it. Well, now we've got a chance again. Things are happening for us at least. Emperor will come in big, maybe get a Kami, since we don't have any way to learn into a reduced to memory right now. I could see that being relevant later on and really getting us where we need to be. They still got 5 cards in hand, so I definitely wouldn't say we're in the clear by any means. That's about the best card they could have had for us there, I think. So I think with the Jukai and the Michigo, definitely at a creature disadvantage here now. Considering the board wipe, I mean, do we just want to try to attack in, see what happens? But I think here the board wipe is probably the play. Just kind of let them see if they'll get a little more down. We still got a blocker. They've got no trample. We'll just be patient. So they got the trample, but we can always block the other one. And I think that's what we'll do. Yeah. Well, if they had managed to get trample on both, that would be about the end of us. But we've got the Emperor anyway. Get rid of the big one, block the other one. Might as well keep it as a surprise, right? We're not killing them anytime soon, so we need a couple blocks. Let's not let them know about it. So a little concerned with the trample there. If they get trample, they kill our Wandering Emperor. Now they need haste. All right, well. I've seen this Crucible come in handy. I was really not very fond of it. I'm only running one in the deck. But it has had a couple moments where it's really come up pretty clutch. Like getting a body down here is great. So I could have gone with Lorehold to gain some life, but I didn't have a good one spot. So it was better, in my eyes, to kill the creature, learn, get some cards. If we're just going to be drawing lands, let's get cards from our sideboard. We can play with them, right? Okay, we'll beef up our blocker a little bit. We have no reason to be attacking when they still have 26 life and we're still somewhat vulnerable. I very well could have gotten reduced to memory from the sideboard to get rid of their enchantment. But because I have another Velomachus in hand, I didn't think that was really worth it at all. And just wait to get him down organically and go get that one when we need to. So this is good. We'll again get it up to 6 because we do have some spells that are 6 or 7. We'll try to beef him up a little bit. Not attacking with the rest because we need blockers. It's kind of a tough choice. We don't have anything, it'd be nice to kill his creature. It'd be nice to bring something back, but I think we kind of have to prioritize the memory. And I still went with the Introduced to Prophecy over the Reduced to Memory, just because, we have the Velomachus. The Touch of the Spirit Realm is not a big deal. And by the time they get Kami back, we should have enough counters to be able to exile it if they ever attack with it. I mean, after the fact, of course, but that should still be good enough. So like these last few rounds, we've really swung the advantage in our favor. We've got more cards now. We've got a better board presence. We're going to trample through, keep it above exile range. I'm okay with that. We killed their creature. This is why we didn't need the Reduced to Memory, right? Because we got another one to bring down. He was expendable. So again, we could get rid of the enchantment. That would not do us much good. Let's get more cards. Like, not only are you going to attack with a 6/6 creature with First Strike and Flying and Vigilance, but you're going to draw some cards too. Sure, I'll take that. It's tough. Like I said, it's tough not to do Invoke Calamity, but those 4/4 blockers are pretty nice in this situation. And the fact that we plus the Wandering Emperor onto him to get him up to 7 was enough to do it. So we ended up with a win there against the Evil Ruins. Very nice, very nice. Valiant effort. All right, let's look at the deck quick again. Really, the Arcane Bombardment we saw in a few hands. A lot of it is just kind of keeping the board clear and keeping things under check and then getting our own threat and going for it. Lots of strategy, lots of different things you can do with the deck. It's very consistent with all the learning and environmental sciences, so I hope you like it. Enjoy until next time. Peace out.